Welcome to the Right Brain Loves Left podcast, where we dive deep into the dynamic world of small business success. I'm your host, Regina Garay, and I'm thrilled to have you join us today. Hi, everyone. How are you? Welcome back to another episode of the Right Brain Loves Left podcast. I am very happy to have the wonderful Miss Anne Trager on the podcast with us. Welcome, Anne. She is the founder of the Potentializer Academy, and she helps mid to late career professionals stay relevant and empower their careers and themselves professionally and personally. Welcome, Anne.
Thank you, Regina. I'm so glad to be here. I really appreciate it.
I hope I embodied that right.
Yeah, completely.
Okay,
Totally.
good.
Yeah.
So Anne and I met a few months ago. We had a coffee chat. We met through a networking group. And through that coffee chat, as I was talking with her, I said, oh my goodness, I need to bring her on the podcast because she was very empowering. You said so many brilliant insights, and I think that you could, share a lot of good guidance and a lot of what you do to our audience who is small business owners. So if you don't mind, I'd love to just dive in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Absolutely.
So, Anne, tell me a little bit about you and founding of the Potentializer Academy. How did that all come about? Because you were in corporate before, correct?
Well, okay. I'm going to tell a story. It's
Okay.
a little bit long, but I'll condense it. Okay. Because it brings it all together and will help you understand the whole idea of the Potentializer Academy. Okay.
Yes.
So I've had a lifelong obsession with human potential. Okay. Now, obviously, when I was, in my late teens, I didn't call it that. But in hindsight, that's basically what it was. It was about what we can do. Okay. I mean, that's what potential is. It's what we can do. Okay. Yeah. And so it started back in childhood, and I won't make this long. I know I'm going back way back there, but okay, I'll start there because I lost my mother. She died when I was 7. I lost my father when I was 8. I went around to, stayed in some other families, stuff like that. Okay. It was my normal life. But what I learned in that period immediately was that I could do things, whatever I chose to do, depended on me. And it depended on me making a decision and then being determined. Okay. So that's a condensed version of, what I learned in that time. So what did I do? Well, as soon as I could, when I was 19, I figured out how to move to France. Okay. I was born in the United States. I moved to France. Cool. Okay. I started a catering business in Paris. An American starting a catering business in Paris. What do you know? Okay. Because I could. Okay. And then I did a translation business because I could. And then I ended up, like I saw already back then that translation didn't have all that much of a future. I mean, that it would change. And so I shifted and I founded a communications consultancy where I was doing more than translation. Okay. And then I did a publishing, and this is the fast forward. Okay. And then I founded a publishing house because I could. Okay. It was all of this, all about navigating the world around me based on my personal interest and doing things because I could. Okay.
And your passions, right.
And my passions. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. And it was all the same. I wanted to learn the tango. I learned the tango and I went to Buenos Aires and I danced like 24 hours straight for about 2 weeks straight without stopping. It was unbelievable. Okay. I mean, that's kind of the way I do things. Okay. I get interested and then I do it. Right. So that was, and all the while I was doing this deep personal development work, obviously, because I had gone through some stuff when I was a kid. That was kind of hard. Okay. So that was this first phase. And then in my mid 40s, it was less about like doing and more about balance and like what the physical body could do. Okay. mid 40s, rough post pregnancy phase, followed by early menopause, it becomes about what the body can do. Okay.
Hmm.
Not
Hmm.
about just what you can possibly do in the world, but more like what can I do with this body as it is now, as it is changing. So, and I summed it up with a question. It's like, how can you have more energy? I just like, I want more energy. I want to feel that energy I used to have. Okay. So I figured that out. Okay, I figured that out. And this was a whole phase. I mean, I went from like crying on the floor with my tiny daughter calling me a witch to, in a matter of a couple of years, to winning the martial arts championship at the age of 50 against a bunch of kids, okay, and getting my black belt,
Yeah.
okay. The it's all about possibilities. So what can you do when you set your mind to it and you do the work and you make a decision, you're very determined, okay? And
Mhm.
then you do the work and you can do incredible things. So that was the second phase. And the third phase was in my 50s when it was more about mindset and connections. Okay. And so, I was still doing the physical stuff, around 55, I decided I'd do a Spartan race, even though I couldn't run and and stuff like that. And Spartan races got obstacles. It was really fun. It was
Okay,
really
because I had no idea what a Spartan race was, but it sounds
hard.
cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, really give it a try. But it's like 5K, which is not very far, except for somebody who doesn't ever run. Okay.
Right.
And then, but it's the 20 obstacles that are really hard. But anyway, really fun. So, I do that kind of stuff. But that was more in the same lines of, physical, what can you do? Okay. But there was something else going on. And it was more about bringing it together, bringing all of these pieces together,
Mhm.
and the personal development together. And had my publishing house at the time, and I didn't really want to be doing that anymore. I'd kind of brought it where it just wasn't going to go any further for me. So I was like, okay, what do I do next? And that's when I started to bring all of the pieces together. I also discovered coaching at that time, which is an extraordinary technology. I want to call it a technology that enables change, and I thought, well, gosh, how can I bring all of this together into a single beautiful mix? And that's when I founded the Potentializer Academy. Okay. So I brought all of my background in communications and corporate, because that's what and all of that with the martial arts and the determination and the personal development. And I put it together in a methodology that combines body, mind, environment, and helps you to getting those three things to work for you, not against you. Okay. And I've got 3 steps I take people through. We go through. Should I keep talking about
Of
it?
course, yes,
Yeah,
and I'm
okay, okay.
fascinated.
I get excited about it. Okay.
I'm excited
So
with you.
yeah, we do the reboot phase, which is really always mind, body, environment, but it's figuring out that energy piece. How can you have not peak energy, but sustainable energy all the time? Okay.
Mm. Mhm.
And no matter where you are in your life and your phase and what changes and what comes your way, okay, how do you do that? And the way you do it's going to be very different than the way I do it, because we're individuals. Okay. That's reboot. Rebalance is about really building on that notion of resilience and going beyond resilience. And also, balance is really about the systems that you have in place and having really flexible systems, because things change all the time. So, if there's not that flexibility in the systems, well, it breaks.
Right.
you
There's no
know?
room for stretching or growth or
Right,
yeah.
exactly. So we do a lot of work in that phase on the resilience, the bouncing back, the what does that mean to be resilient and to actually go. There's so much more than resilience and those systems. Okay. And
Mhm.
then I have this reconnect phase, which is about connecting vertically, that is with who you really are and your values and your vision and purpose. If purpose is a thing for you, it's not a thing for everybody. Okay. And that's your vertical connection, but then there's a horizontal connection, which is like so fun, which is how you connect with all those concentric circles around you of others and the world around you, your impact. And evidently that journey that I take people on is not linear. It's often in, these spiraling up, as I like to
As is
say,
life, because life
as
is
is life.
linear. Our path, even our own individual paths, are not linear.
Exactly, exactly.
So,
So
oh, go
that's
ahead.
how I got to the Potentializer Academy. All right.
Love that. And it's the perfect name for what everything that you're embodying and talking about the life potential of somebody. And even just as you were saying your story, I heard once that whatever path we take, it falls like dominoes. It's not linear. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, but you've got to follow that road because sometimes where we started was at a completely different career than where we end. And that's okay because we're following what we love, which is, an essential element of
Yeah.
working, I think.
Yeah.
I also love how you described coaching, um, because you said it was technology. And as you were saying that, I thought that's that's pretty accurate because when we're doing technology, it's tools, it's software, it's
Yeah.
techniques, where this is personal technology that
Oh, yeah.
you're giving. So it's got its own tools, its own processes. I love that.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. So I was curious about something you said, which is the word purpose. And you said some people have a purpose but it's not a necessary thing. What does that mean?
Well, I think that well, sometimes some of the people that I work with get really caught up in this word purpose. What's my purpose? I can't find my purpose, and so we dig and we question, and what does that mean actually? And I think that a lot of times people are looking for meaning.
Mm,
Okay?
it's true.
And meaning and purpose can be two different things. Okay.
Mhm.
So there's the word purpose, there's the word meaning, and another word that comes up frequently is impact. I want to have impact. Okay. What does that mean? Okay. And it means something different for different people. And so I see these words circulating around kind of in this nebulous thing of something, what I call the greener grass. Okay. It's like something over there that will perhaps fulfill me where I'm not feeling fulfilled right now. Okay. So some people, on the other hand, are really clear about what their purpose is. They know that, listen, this is what I'm here for. This is what I do. Okay. Um, and this is how it expresses in the world. For other people, it's not like that at all. Okay. I know it took me like forever to figure out like my little tagline. I call it my tagline purpose. Okay. Okay. And actually once I figured it out, I never tell anybody about it. So I'll throw it out right now. And it's like my what I'm here to do is to spread empowered optimism. Okay. That's what I do. Okay. Okay. But it took me years and years and years and how many coaching sessions and how many journaling sessions to like come up with that. And actually, I never say it again. It was so, but it gives meaning to what I do. Okay. Um, and it's kind of this guiding light for me. So you have different kinds of people. And I think if we can't get too caught up in having to do something important and purposeful when maybe it's more about projects, okay? Or maybe it's just about being and not about doing, okay? And so I like to open that up so that we don't get fixated on something.
I That is so good, calling it projects as opposed to this maybe unattainable if we're not, feeling a purpose or feeling that meaning or feeling that impact.
Mhm.
It's projects that you can do. They could be projects of philanthropic efforts. It could be projects of helping your community. It could be projects of helping fellow business owners
Mm.
or, you know, fulfilling somebody's potential, and that word potential, I think I feel it stronger now than I did in my 20s.
Mm.
and you would think it'd be the other way around because in your 20s, you're like the whole, if we're lucky, our whole life is ahead of us. So it's, and I'll share this with you because my younger sister is an SVP at a marketing firm. And, she's hustle, 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 move, move, move. And, sometimes I get exhausted, but I used to do all those things, and it's now I don't know if it's that I'm exhausted or if it's like I'm a little more experienced and thinking, it's okay. Things don't
Yeah.
have to go at this breakneck speed. You might want to take breaks in between. So it's kind of like a mix. Like, is it that I'm tired or is it that I'm experienced? Figuring that out.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, that's a really good question. I love how you ask yourself, is it because I'm tired or is it, so I don't know. Maybe it's both, And I think that and I also think that we tend now in the personal development spaces to demonize this high-paced
Yeah. Yeah.
world. Okay. And I think it's too bad because I personally really like to do a bunch of stuff
Hmm.
all at once and to go real fast. And you put me in a meeting where people are talking slowly. I mean, sometimes, and I love coaches, but sometimes, oh my God, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I want it to go, come on, come on, come on. Okay.
Hmm.
So and I think it's too bad that we demonize that. I was talking to a client earlier today who was like, oh, and so, it's a back to school period, so and it's like, oh, and it's been really intense, and oh my gosh, I just can't wait till we get back to normal days. And I said, really? Are you sure that that's what you want? Do you really want to have a boring day? And he looked at me and I said, well, and he was like, well, no, actually, no,
Because some people thrive on that. They thrive on the high pace, but for sure there needs to be a period of where you rest and
Oh,
relax
for
and
sure.
recharge. You know,
Exactly.
that I think that's an important component of maintaining that that high pace sustainability. Because if you don't,
Exactly. Exactly. Well, so then when, and I think no matter what you're doing in your life,
mhm,
there's finding that balance. That's part of the balance. I mean, there really is, energy is everything. Okay. And if you don't have your energy, then you're not going to be able to, you can't do or be who you want to be. Okay. It
mhm,
just doesn't work. So energy is everything. And we have physiological constraints. And one of those constraints is that we actually need to sleep. Okay. I
yes,
mean, had we been able to evolve out of sleep, we would have done it already. Okay. We have
great
not.
viewpoint.
Okay. Okay. So we need to sleep. Okay. And we need to follow the rhythms of our body, which include then their 90-minute cycles throughout the day. That's the way it is. Okay. So you figure out how you do that. And when you figure that out, and I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into it, then you can have sustained energy all the time.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
It's funny because when we speak about energy, because there's so much that we want to do or we have the potential to do, um, but it's that spark, because you could say to yourself, I want to run a 5K, or I want to walk 10,000 steps a day, or I want to go hiking in the national parks, or I want to travel and go visit and go walk around Europe. You can say all these things, but unless you have that energy to start, it's really not going to happen. But it's funny to me because when you push through that resistance to remain in what I call inertia, the just,
Yeah.
just the thinking that you want to do all, but you don't really make steps towards it. The more you actually push through and get to the other side, the more energy you have to continue that path and do
Yeah.
other things. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
it's surprising to me. That just battling through that inertia starts you off on it gives you more energy.
That's so interesting that you say that. I think it really parallels the way the body is, okay? Because the body in itself is lazy. Okay, we're just lazy. Our brains are designed to conserve as much energy as possible. So, if I can sit around and hang out on the couch, I am going to do that. Okay, okay, and boy, all of those streaming services have figured that out.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yes, they have.
okay, so the thing is, and the body also needs to move in order for all of its various functions to work. Okay. So it's kind of this vicious circle. So you actually have to get moving, but it's hard. It's that first step is hard. But as soon as you get moving, and anybody who's had a period out not doing sports who then picks up sports again, the first part is going to be so excruciatingly difficult and hard to get motivated. But as soon as you get going and it's a rhythm, you can't stop because your body needs it to function. Okay. And we've all felt that. Anybody who's done any kind of physical activity knows that feeling that after a while, like if you don't do it, you don't feel the same.
Mhm.
Okay. So it's all about starting, and it's very much in line with parallels exactly what you were saying, is that to get moving, you have to get moving, make that choice. It's what I was talking about earlier. It's about making a decision and being really determined, particularly in that first phase.
And what are some things that small business owners can do every day to help realize their potential or to help gain that energy or to have a better mindset to attack their day?
Oh gosh, I wish there were, a simple answer to that question. Okay.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
or actually, no, there is a simple answer. There is a really simple answer, and it's not exotic. So I wish there were an exotic answer to that question. If you want to have sustainable energy, you need to hydrate. This is the one everybody forgets, or they hydrate too much, or they don't, or they don't hydrate. Okay. If you hydrate too much and you don't have your electrolytes, then you're all off balance, and that's not very. It's not going to help your energy levels. And if you don't hydrate enough, your brain shrinks. Okay, so you're really not going to have your energy levels. Okay, you need to sleep. You need to rest. You need to have those cycling on and off of deep concentration periods. You need to move. You need to have social connection with other people. Okay, it's not rocket science. It's the basics. It's not very sexy. And when you do those things, then you have that underlying level of energy that will allow you to do what you have to do. And then there's something else. And now I have thought of another one, which I actually thought of earlier. There's something about switching from a wish mindset to a do mindset, or to a goal mindset. Okay. So, because what you were talking about earlier is this whole list of wants. Oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. And how do I overcome the inertia?
Mhm.
Well, there's a brain thing going on here. Okay. If I want to stop eating chocolate, okay, for my brain, well, I already want to do it. So I've already accomplished it, you see, without having to stop eating chocolate. Okay. I'm not going to do it. Bad example, because I do not want to stop eating chocolate. Okay. Let me put it in another way. If I want to eat less chocolate, okay, then my brain is perfectly satisfied with doing nothing because I already want it. Okay, it's the wrong verb. Okay. However, if I switch that to like a goal, okay, and make it kind of specific, and I say, I will eat, you know, 80% less chocolate. Okay. That's pretty specific. Okay. Still gives me a lot of chocolate because I eat a lot of chocolate, but 80% less chocolate. Okay. Then I can do it. Okay. Because it's an action. It's not a want. I mean, a want is it's more of a feeling. Does that make any sense
It
what I'm
makes
saying?
perfect sense
Yeah.
because you're translating that from to specific actions that are attainable.
Exactly. And so you have this, and then your brain figures out how to do it. Okay. And that's like that decision making thing. It's not, I want to go visit all the national parks. It's like, well, gosh, I want to go to Zion National Park next summer, with my husband. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And how are we going to do that? Okay.
it's, and I love goal achievement, goals, making goals. It's so wonderful to hear that because that's what really solidifies that in your mind when you're doing those specifics or when you break it down. Um, that is so key. And I love that, the 80% less chocolate, actually even giving it a number,
Yeah.
and having that because it's true. Once your brain is like, okay, 80% less, so this means this. Okay, so let's work on that. It works with you in tandem with you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And actually, I'm just going to retreat that from my brain because this is not part of my goals right now. I'm perfectly fine eating all the chocolate I'm eating. Okay.
We're like, no, no, let's take that back. Not no, 80% less, 0% less chocolate.
Yeah,
I'm updating that number.
yeah.
All right. So I want to segue a little bit into small business marketing, because there's something that you do. I actually didn't mention this to you, when we were talking earlier, but there's something that you do marketing wise that I love and I enjoy. And that is that you send out, I know this is a strange segue, but I just remembered it. You send out a LinkedIn newsletter and
Oh.
it comes to my email and I enjoy reading it, and so I wanted to ask you about that. Is that something that you find success with? Because LinkedIn as a platform for you must be phenomenal. Do you write? I have so many questions about that. Do you write your own newsletter or is that your newsletter that you send out?
So I have a rather complex content production thing going on. Okay.
Process system.
Yeah. Because so I come from communications. Okay, that's my background. I used to
Mhm.
translate and write books. I used to publish books. I'm a writer. Okay, I worked in corporate communications, writing for high level, CEOs and stuff like that. This is my this is my medium.
Mhm.
Okay, so I have been writing a blog for a number of years now. I took 1 year off, but I have, hundreds of articles there in both English and French on my website. It's a way for me to process information as well as to just speak to my audience. Okay. So I do those articles. Okay. And um, I do um, I do posts on LinkedIn of other content on a daily basis. I do a LinkedIn newsletter and I publish articles on LinkedIn, okay? Because I have all of this content and it allows me to think of new ideas, come up with new frameworks, go back to the old stuff, get
Mhm.
it out there and um, and then I have just an email newsletter as well that I do. So I'm constantly putting out ideas and content because it allows me as well to like formulate these ideas that I
Mhm.
have.
Mhm. You're repurposing
Oh,
that
all the
content.
time. Yeah,
Sometimes I read things that I wrote a few years ago and I'm like, this is so valuable for today. I just need to update it a little bit, but the concepts are there.
exactly.
Um, and so I was wondering that because I love talking about small business marketing to other small business owners because it's so valuable to find what they see is key. And if you have a lot of content like you do, or you enjoy writing, this is something that might work. I just want, please put me on your email newsletter, by the way. But I do enjoy your LinkedIn newsletter. I wanted to let you know that,
Thank
when
you.
it
Thank you.
comes
Yeah.
through, and nobody else does that. I don't know. You're the only one. And I'm like, this is so.
I don't know how, I don't know what I checked so that it goes that way. I have no idea how that happens, but
Oh,
okay.
I'll forward it to you next time so you can see the
Yeah,
format
yeah.
because it's
Yeah. No,
wonderful.
I love it. I love it. I guess beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, LinkedIn gods.
Thank the universe. So,
So, no,
all right.
um,
So I want to talk a little bit about what's next for you, and then I'd also like to for you to share how to have our listeners, and our watchers contact you for more. So first, let's talk about what you have going on, and what's next, what's happening with the Potentializer Academy.
the what's next for me is right now I'm really focused on building up the Potentializer Academy I really want to touch more people and to help them really expand their potential. This is really my thing.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm really focused on that. And I actually have to bring this out because in 11 days I have a new podcast that's starting up. So I'm launching a podcast which is called the Human Pulse Podcast.
Mhm.
It's about living well with technology, and I am doing it with a tech advisor. So we're going to talk about this crazy, messy, wonderful world of technology we live in and how we live in it well. So
The Human Pulse,
the Human Pulse podcast.
the Human Pulse
Absolutely.
podcast. And
Yeah, and I can give you a link to it. The website is humanpulsepodcast.com.
okay,
So, and it is up, and the first episode launches on the 17th of September. So,
okay, wonderful. And we'll put the Pulse, the link in the description so that
okay,
everybody
great.
has
Yeah.
a way to find you and listen to you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. And you do
So
one-on-one coaching, correct? And to
I do one-on-one coaching. So one-on-one coaching, anybody can reach out to me. You can reach out to me through LinkedIn. You can reach out to me through my website, which is potentializer-academy.com. There you can get a free strategy session. I will spend time with you and talk to you and figure out if it's the right thing. Um, so all of my programs are tailored to you as an individual. So when you come, we talk about where you are, where you want to go and how you can get there. And then we tailor a program based on that. Okay. Some of it can be one-on-one coaching.
Mhm.
It always includes one-on-one coaching. Let's put it that way. I also have some online programs that can support that coaching if it's pertinent. We can do biohacking because this is one of my things is biohacking.
We didn't even touch
And
upon that.
oh, yes.
What is biohacking? Just to,
So biohacking is optimizing your internal and external environment so that it works for you rather than against you. Okay. Usually this means it's a really beautiful word. We use you can use tech, you can use supplements, you can use whatever, but the basics of biohacking is the lifestyle stuff. You
Mhm.
have to get the basics down first, and then you can start optimizing. Okay.
Mm.
And it's all about optimizing. So you measure, you optimize, you experiment. It's a way of life. Okay. That's the way I like to describe the biohacking. And that's the way I bring it in is first of all, we get all the basics down and then we start optimizing depending on what you want to optimize.
This is fascinating because this is so thorough. It's not just about showing up and you're meditating and we think some things and we get it done. It's truly from the inside out. It's
Absolutely.
seeing where your body's at, where your energy's at, and using that, eh, calibrating that to go forward.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Depending on what your goals are and where you are in your life, you know?
Okay. So
Yeah,
potentializer-academy.com
hyphen.
hyphen thank you, hyphen academy.com is the way to get a hold of you. You're also on LinkedIn. You're very strong on LinkedIn. And we will provide all the links and everything in the description so you can find them there. And this has been fascinating. Thank you so much. I have a feeling we just like touched the apex of that mountain.
Well, thank you, Regina. This has been really delightful. I would love to talk to you anytime. As you can see, I love to talk. So,
And I enjoy that. So thank you, Anne, for coming and being a guest. And I look forward to keeping in touch with you. Everybody, please head to her website or listen to her podcast and keep up with Anne Trager. Thank you, Anne.
thank you. Bye.
Hi, everyone.